everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, then my name is Jodie and I am mum to 3 boys aged 3 and under. I am currently pregnant with baby number 4. I found out not that long ago, and if you missed how I found out, then I actually did a Facebook Live with channel Mum, so I will make sure I put the link down below. If you haven't watched it, then please go and check it out because it was a really fun and interesting video to do. So I am pregnant with baby number 4. I'm slightly scared, nervous, excited, and yeah, all the emotions really. My eldest is 3 years 3 months, my middle son is 23 months, and so I say 23 months, he's like 2 next month, and then my youngest is 8 months in a week's time. So I think I am around about 10-11 weeks pregnant. I am not entirely sure exactly my dates yet. I have actually had a scan because I'm going to take you back a few days. I've had a bit of an emotional roller coaster so far, so I will take you back a few days and let you know a little bit about what's happened. So yeah, this was a few days ago. Hi everyone. So last night I had a huge bleed, and it was really weird because I just picked Nico out of the bath and sort of like twisted him around and laid him on his towel, and as I did that I just felt like this massive gush, and I was like, oh god, what is that? So I checked, went to the toilet, and it was literally just blood everywhere, and I was like, oh god, this is awful. Didn't know what it was. Obviously you always think of the worst because you just don't know, and that's the horrible thing, like the not knowing. It's so hard to sort of get your head around. So, and I was bleeding all again last night up until, well, maybe early hours of this morning, and then I managed to get hold of the GP and they said that they would like to see me, so I am going there today. So I'm going to see the doctor at 11 o'clock. Got to take a wee sample and everything like that, so hopefully everything's okay. I had a huge bleed with Nico at 11 weeks, so I kept a hemorrhage. It was awful and I thought I was miscarrying. Had a scan 2 days later and he was absolutely fine, kicking around, and yeah, so I know when you see a bleed and you're pregnant you do freak out, but it's actually so common, but so many people don't talk about it because it is scary and it is like really frightening. So yeah, I had a huge bleed, off to the doctors today. They will probably refer me to the early pregnancy unit for an early scan, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm praying that everything is going to be okay. Yeah, so I mean, I'll keep you updated. So been to the doctors and she had a little check down there, and she just basically said that she can only see dry blood and there's no fresh blood, so that is a good sign. She's referred me to the EPAU, which is the early pregnancy assessment unit, for an early scan, which is great, but it's not today, which is really annoying, so I'll get a phone call either today or tomorrow for like a scan maybe the following day. It's just that horrible in-between time where you're like, is everything okay? Like, am I pregnant? Am I not pregnant? Like, I don't know, it's just so hard because ideally I would have liked to have had a scan today to put my mind at rest, but then she's just sort of said, well, everything seems okay, you're not bleeding anymore, your cervix is closed, which is a good sign, but that still doesn't fill me with confidence. I want to know, I want to be able to just see the little embryo and make sure that everything's okay. So I don't know, it's just so hard. Blooming stressful day as well, so annoying, but yeah, I mean, I guess the doctor doesn't seem to think that there's like a major issue, but it's still in your mind when you don't know what's actually happening. You always think of the worst, especially when it comes to pregnancy, and I think no matter how many pregnancies you've been through or how many children you've had, I think the more you have, the more worried you get because you're almost more aware of what can happen. And especially after Marco as well, with everything that happened with him, I feel like I'm more nervous or more worried because I want to try and do everything to avoid that happening again. So yeah, I don't know, a bit of a stressful day. Not really sort of got me anywhere, but at least I've spoken to the doctor and she's just told me that basically it's a good sign at the moment, so I guess I just have to wait for the phone call and wait for my scan. Yeah, that's about it. So obviously I have had the scan now, so I went to the early pregnancy assessment unit, and I didn't film because I was so nervous. I didn't know what to expect. It was a really scary time, and what made it worse is that they were running about 3 hours behind as well, so I was waiting in the waiting room for what felt like ages and ages, sort of not knowing what was happening inside, and that was the most yeah, horrible feeling, just not knowing what's happening. There were these other women, I mean the waiting room was quite full, so I did get chatting to some lovely women there actually, which was really nice, and they sort of kept my mind off of things, so I guess we were all there for a similar situation. They called my name in, so I went and laid on the little bed, and they did the scan on top of my belly. And the woman just looked at me and said, "I'm really sorry, but I can't find anything." She said, "Please go and empty your bladder." I had like a really full bladder, because nobody told me whether I needed full bladder or whether I like didn't need one. So I'd like held in my wee for so long. The first thing she said was when she went on there, she was like, "Oh, you have a really full bladder." So she couldn't actually find anything, and my heart just sank when she said those words. She just said, "I'm really sorry, but I can't see anything." I just felt so sick. She told me to go and go for a wee, which I did, and then come back. So I ended up having the internal scan, which I've never had before, and it looks so scary. It was this huge rod, and I was like, where's that going? So she sort of explained, obviously it doesn't go all the way in, but it is a bit more accurate, especially if you are early on, which I believed I was. So anyway, I had that. It was absolutely fine. So if any of you ever need to have anything like that, then it really doesn't hurt at all. So yeah, so I had the internal scan. Straight away I saw like the tiniest little bean. It was so small. That's how I can describe it, as just a bean, with like tiny little sprouts for the arms and the legs, and obviously the head. It was really weird. I saw the heartbeat, and she turned the volume up and I could hear it, and I have never lost control of myself like ever before. I just completely burst out crying, and the lovely nurse that was sat next to me, and she grabbed me loads of tissues, and she said, "Oh my goodness, are you okay? Like, I'll get the lady to stop if it's hurting." And I was like, "No, it doesn't hurt at all." I just feel so relieved. I think because I'd waited so long, and obviously I had to wait an extra day to find out, like I didn't sleep the night before. It was just a horrible feeling not knowing. So yeah. Well, luckily the bleeding had stopped then anyway, but still, to me, when you have a huge bleed like that, it's not normal. Well, I know it can be normal for some people, but for me, I was so worried about it. So yeah, thankfully I had the scan, everything was fine, heard the heartbeat, burst out crying, and it was just a huge relief. So I knew that baby was okay. She didn't actually give me a date, because they say this isn't a dating scan, so they're not allowed to give you a date, which was a bit annoying. I mean, the baby was pretty small, so I'd imagine I wasn't, you know, that far along, but I think from my dates, I think I'm about 10 or 11 weeks, but I went to see the doctor as well, and again, they only sort of give you a date from when your last period was, and I am a little bit unsure as to when that was. So I do have a scan coming up in the next week, so hopefully they will be able to give me a date then. So yeah, I've had a few emotional days actually, really. So I'm kind of glad that's all over, and in my head and my heart I know that at the moment the baby is okay, and it was nice to be able to get to see it on the screen and just sort of see the heartbeat and hear the heartbeat and everything like that. So it was a huge relief after having that massive bleed, which was so scary. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my symptoms, because I have not had some nice symptoms at all, and I don't know if this is true, but somebody told me that the more babies you have, the more intense your symptoms are, the more intense your labour is. I think because your body knows what to do, it almost sort of heightens everything. I don't know if that's true, but for me, my pregnancy symptoms this time round have been horrendous. I am not complaining because I know how extremely lucky I am. I'm just finding it difficult at the moment, having to run around after 3 children, not being able to sort of rest and put my feet up. So my first pregnancy symptom, the sickness. Oh my god, the sickness. I haven't been sick constantly. I've been sick a handful of times. Like randomly I had a car journey, got out and was just sick everywhere. I was bathing the boys, came over all dizzy and faint, went really hot, my mouth started watering and then just puked everywhere. Sorry, it's not glamorous at all, but I have just that constant feeling of I'm gonna be sick. My mouth waters constantly and I have this awful metallic taste in my mouth. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this before, but it almost feels like I've been chewing on tin foil, or I've got tin foil in my mouth or something like that. I can imagine, I've never had tin foil in my mouth before, but I can only imagine that that's what it would taste like. When I eat, it goes away, so I feel like I need to eat little and often to keep that taste away, which is a bit annoying because I end up just sort of snacking really on like rubbishy bits or bits that aren't so nice. So I've made sure that I've stocked up on fruit and veg so I can eat some carrot sticks or, you know, a bowl of strawberries, that sort of thing, and not crisps and dip or pancakes or anything like that. So yes, sickness, that is my #1 symptom, and that seems to be so much worse than it was with Marco. I was sick up until about 18 weeks, so I'm hoping it doesn't last that long, but if it does, it does. It's all part and parcel, I know, and it doesn't last forever. Also, my sense of smell is ridiculous. I smell absolutely anything. If somebody burps near me, I'm like, whoa, that is disgusting. I can smell everything. I emptied the dishwasher the other morning and I had to run and be sick because the smell of the dishwasher randomly made me feel sick. I opened the bin in our kitchen and I ran to the toilet and was sick because the smell of the food and the rubbish in the bin made me feel sick. And this is a funny one as well. I was changing my son's pooey nappy and I had to run to the toilet to be sick because the smell of it was just horrendous. My nose is so sensitive, so if you're around me, please don't burp or fart because I will know it's you. Yeah, so that's #2. #3, exhaustion. I feel so exhausted no matter how much sleep I have. I just feel so tired. I don't get a great deal of sleep. My youngest still wakes up a couple of times for feeding in the night, or sometimes he'll just be really unsettled and just want to cuddle, so I am up and down all through the night anyway, which I don't think helps. But also the fact that I have no energy, I can't get motivated or I can't find the energy to do things, which is really annoying, because I'm usually on the go constantly with the boys. As you can imagine, if you've got boys, they are just so crazy all the time. And yeah, I don't really get a chance to have a break, but I'm just finding it so hard to like keep going. I have been feeling so dizzy as well. Every time I stand up or from sitting down to standing up, I get like this rush of dizziness all over me and I have to like stop for a minute and just gather myself before I carry on walking. So yeah, the dizziness is really weird. I'm not entirely sure why. So I have seen the midwife and I've been they've been taking some of my blood to obviously check for, because I struggled really bad with iron all last 3 pregnancies. It's my iron stores, which apparently if you have a different ethnic background, like an Asian background, which I do, that tends to be quite common. So I think I'll probably have that issue this time round, in which case I will be taking lots of iron tablets. Even before I actually found out I was pregnant, I knew in my head and my body started changing. I just knew. My tummy has literally just exploded. I'm going to show you what it looks like today because it's just insane. So I don't know if you can see that is my tummy today. I've got really big pants on as well, excuse me, and all of my everything just seems to be so tight. So this is my tummy at the moment. Can you believe it? Like 10 weeks. Well, I think I'm around 10 weeks. I think I probably look like I'm about 10 months, but hey, this is what my tummy looks like at the moment. So I have my scan next week, and I'll be sure to do another little update for you and let you know when my due date and everything is. So I am just praying that this time round we have a healthy and full pregnancy. I would love to carry full term this time round. I really feel like my body failed me last time when Marco was born early. Anyway, yes, I hope you enjoyed my very first pregnancy update. I am sure I will shower you with a lot more. So if you haven't already subscribed, then please do for more pregnancy updates and baby related videos and just general mum stuff and mum life, because that is my life. And I will catch up again with you guys soon. Thanks for popping by.